Check out what some people had to say about him. He could have been a superstar wide receiver. What happened to him is what I'm going to label as an athlete's worst nightmare. Not only his career, his livelihood, his life did a complete 180. One of the most bizarre stories and situations you'll ever come across in the sports industry. The day is September 5th, 2005. At first glance, it seemed like it was going to be a normal Saturday in college football. That was up until Alabama found themselves trailing at home to Southern Miss 21-10. For those of you that don't know, back then, Southern Miss wasn't a bad ball team, and Alabama, they weren't as good as they are now. But regardless, it was still shocking to see the score you're looking at right here. Alabama down by 11 with under 30 seconds to go in the half. Alabama had the ball on the 43-yard line, so obviously out of field goal range, and it didn't make too much sense to punt on the ball. So the head coach tells the quarterback, which was Brody Croyle at the time, hey, why not? Let's throw one up. What you're about to see next is utterly ridiculous, to say the least.
Croyle lays it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, meet Tyrone Prothro. What you just watched is arguably the greatest catch in college football history. It's kind of strange to me because it doesn't get brought up anymore, and I guess you could chalk that up to it happened almost 20 years ago. But let me tell you something, when there's a new catch, there always seems to be like one catch every couple of years where people are like, oh my goodness, that's the greatest catch I've ever seen. I always think of this one, I'm like, nope, it doesn't top it.
Some catch. Falk has great coverage, but see, he put his left arm out.
Everything about it's insane. The concentration, the skill it takes to not only catch it, but then pin it on his back. And what impresses me the most is the grip strength. Not only did he pin it to the defender's helmet/back area, he rode the defender about an extra 3, 4, 5 yards.
He catches off his back and holding on to the football.
And meanwhile, the defender doesn't know what's going on. He proceeds to do a front flip pro throw, and he's still hanging on to it. Although the ball did graze the ground, it was clear and evident he never lost control. And I do want to clarify for all those people saying, oh, well, the ball hit the ground. Newsflash, buddy, the ball can hit the ground as long as you got possession. I mean, come on now, look at this frame. It's insane. What a miraculous catch, and I could talk about it, rant and rave on it for the next 5 to 6 minutes, but I think you get the point. Oh yeah, my apologies, we didn't even bring this up. It was also a big-time catch, because Alabama was trailing by 11 and it was 4th down. That was a momentum shifter heading into half, and Alabama winds up winning this game 30-21. Tyrone Prothro finished this game with 7 catches, $134, didn't have a touchdown, but who cares? He had one of the greatest catches you're ever going to see. Next thing you know, you look up, Alabama's got a nice little 4-game winning streak heading into a matchup with 5th-ranked Florida. This was a huge and big-time game at Bryant-Denny Stadium. There's a lot of hype surrounding it. From the start, Alabama blew the brakes off of Florida. They jumped out to a 17-0 lead, and they didn't look back. Prothro was having the game of his life against Florida. His words, not mine. That was the best game of his career.
Wants to go deep for Prothro, who's down there.
I don't even think you need to see the rest of this play. You know it's about to happen. He's going to get into the end zone.
No flags!
Tyrone Prothro was skyrocketing up NFL draft boards. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was going to be a stud for many years to come, and he was going to be a force to be reckoned with. Unfortunately, late in the 4th quarter against Florida, one of the worst things imaginable happened to Mr. Tyrone Prothro. What happened to him is what I'm going to label as an athlete's worst nightmare. Not only his career, his livelihood, his life did a complete 180. One of the most bizarre stories and situations you'll ever come across in the sports industry. There's many questions people have been asking about this guy even till this day. But however, it all circles back to the one, and I mean the one big question we're going to try to get to the bottom of in today's video. What really happened to Tyrone Prothro? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you are having a great day. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And real quick, just want to drop by and say, if you have any recommendations for stories and documentary videos like this, feel free to leave a comment down below, and who knows, we might make that video. I have seen this video requested about 3 to 4-ish times in the comment section. I can't find the comments, but you know who you are. If you did request this, thank you. As soon as I saw the comments, I was like, oh yeah, no doubt. I added it to my notes. We got to do Tyrone Prothro. Strap in, buckle up, get you a snack, get you a popcorn, get your favorite meal you like to eat when you watch a video, because trust me, I do the same thing. But all right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up. No, without further ado, let's get into it. Coming out of high school, I think it's more than safe to say that Mr. Prothro, he was underrated. The 24/7 Sports composite rankings only had him as a 3-star recruit and ranked 682nd in the nation. He did have quite a few offers lined up, but ultimately, he would commit and sign with Alabama. His first year in 2003 as a freshman didn't play too much, only had 16 catches for $191 with 1 touchdown. Fast forward time into 2004 as a sophomore, similar story. Yes, he was getting some more reps and playing a little bit more, but he was still the young buck on the team. It wasn't time for him to break out or have a breakout season. If you are curious, as a sophomore, had 25 catches for 347 yards and 1 touchdown. Heading into 2005, that is when Prothro was expected to have a really good season to go off. In the second game that season, that's when he had a $134 against Southern Miss and made that miraculous catch. In game number 4 against Arkansas, he had 3 catches for 48 yards. Like we talked about in the intro, Alabama starts out 4-0. Everything's going great. Bama then has to play number 5 ranked Florida, and they just millywhop them 31-3. In this ballgame, Prothro had 5 catches for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns, and it should have been more. I'm going to quote him on this. This was the best game of his life and the worst game of his life. The score is 31-3 with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's over. Alabama has the ball on the 28, 29-yard line, give or take. They call a pass play. Prothro just completely destroys his man, but Brody Croyle underthrows the pass. So I know what you're sitting here thinking, if you don't know what happened next. Oh, well, no big deal. It was a pass interference maybe, or he just didn't catch it. As you can see, Prothro had to slow down a lot just to catch back up to the ball, and you know what happens next. That also allows the defender to catch up. I realize the way I worded that might have confused you. Prothro didn't have to go back to the ball, but he had to slow down the pace he was running at. I hope that makes sense. You get what I'm trying to say. Anyways, continuing along, Prothro has to slow down a little bit. DB catches up, pass underthrown. Not a good combination. Like he always did, Prothro high points the football, gets both hands on it. The announcer at the time even said, "Oh, touchdown Alabama." He thought he caught it. But when he came down, he just destroyed his leg. The way he landed with the Florida player catching up to him and all that force coming down on it, it's gruesome, man. It's nasty. If you really want to find it, it's online, but I will not be showing it to you in this video. It's bad. Looking back on it when I was watching this play, I can't believe back in the day, 19, 20 years ago when it happened, they showed replays like this like it wasn't a big deal. If this injury happened in the modern era of college football today, there's no way they would show a replay. If you see a bad injury today, you'll just see it live once, and if you missed it, well, you're out of luck because they're not going to do a replay analysis over it. But back when this happened, the commentators showed the play for well, I know it's not their fault, but the broadcasters, whoever, they were breaking down the injury and replaying it over and over and over and over. I know some of you may be sitting here thinking, oh, well, maybe he just missed the entire season. Maybe he came back next year. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Not only did Prothro miss the remainder of that season, he never played another down of football again. He had to have 11. Count them. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10. 11 surgeries to repair his leg. I know as far as it goes for his career, this video came to an abrupt ending, but that was it. You hear people talk about a career-ending injury, but no, that was literally a career-ending injury. Not only do I have a ton of sympathy for him, but I have a ton of empathy as well. I don't want to make this about me, and I know some of you know this, but let me share to you why I have so much empathy for him. I was in a very similar situation in high school, not on the football field, but on the basketball court. It was my junior season, first game of the year, matter of fact, and we were playing one of the top teams in the state. I had either 30 or 32, I can't remember to be exact points, heading into the fourth quarter. It was the game of my life up until that point. And on the first play in the fourth quarter, I go up to block a guy's shot and just completely destroy my knee. Tore my ACL, both my meniscuses, MCL, PCL, everything. You name it, I tore it. There's many more details to it, and my story is, like I've always told you guys for years now, a different video for a different day, and one day I'll share it with you guys. But my point is, to Prothro, I've been there before. It's the most humbling life experience I've ever been through, and I know he had to feel the same way. Mentally, takes a toll on you. You went from the highest of highs. You got 2 touchdowns, a $134 against Florida, top 5 team in the nation, and just like that, at the snap of a finger, your career's over. It almost doesn't even feel real. It's like, wait a minute, no, this can't be the end. There's no way it ends like this. Sadly, there's no Cinderella ending or story here. He never recovered. After that injury, he did work as a sales advisor for a car dealership in Pelham, Alabama. Here's what he had to say in an interview, quote unquote, "I have a family, so right now I'm just working like the next man and trying to provide for my family so that they don't ever have to worry about anything. As long as my family's taken care of, I'm happy." He was also asked about how his mobility is. Can he play in the backyard with his kids, play basketball? And here's what he stated. "There's no cutting on a dime or nothing like that like I used to, but I can go out and I can be active. I can do what I want to do, just not like I used to do it." One thing I found interesting when doing research and gathering information for this video is his left leg never regained its strength. Here's what he had to say about that. "A lot of the ligaments got messed up with the injury, and just rebuilding that leg and strengthening that leg was an issue because each time I had surgery, I had to have time to heal from the surgery. But at the same time, as I'm healing, scar tissue is building up. So once I was healed, it was kind of hard to rehab because I already have scar tissue building back up. I'm pretty familiar with this process. I've had 2 ACL surgeries myself." The problem with Prothro's injury was every time the leg started to strengthen up and get better, boom, he had to do another surgery and he'd go back to being weak. And then to go on top of that, the scar tissue is just building up non-stop, and that is not a recipe for success. Absolutely tragic. However, in 2017, this is when he became a football coach at Spanish Fort. The year after, in 2018, this is when he was hired to coach at Jasper, which is also located in Alabama. As where it stands today, he's an extremely low-key person. He has Instagram and social media, but it's private. Check out what some people had to say about him. He could have been a superstar wide receiver. He had the potential to be one of the all-time greats in the NFL. Too bad he got injured. He's still the greatest wide receiver that has ever played for Bama. I really like this comment because it gives you some perspective on what type of man he is. I went to high school with Tyrone for a couple of years in Heflin. I was unliked and a small Yankee, but he was a good dude. Can say lots of less than nice things about a lot of people there, but not about Tyrone. Nice, even though he was pretty much a local celebrity at the time, and that can go to your head. What a talent. There's many more comments I can show you, but one common thing I saw people say is how great of a person he is. I didn't see anybody anywhere say any bad thing about him, and he's such a humble guy. I watched a couple different interviews, and my takeaway was always the same. I'm like, man, I can't believe this. Why do bad things happen to good people? Like I always say, it's not what happens to you in this life, it's how you respond. He has responded in a great way, and maybe that was God telling him, you know what? Playing professional football, that's not your calling. Your calling is to be a coach. Who knows? But here's my question to you before we end out this video. I'm extremely curious. How good do you think Tyrone Prothro could have been? Do you think he would have succeeded in the NFL, been like a 10-time Pro Bowler, a legend wide receiver, Hall of Fame, or something like that? Or do you think he would have barely made the league and only stayed in it for a couple of years? Who knows what would actually happen? And you want to talk about a big-time butterfly effect? Let's end off the video with this. What if Brodie Croyle didn't have to throw that pass off his back foot and he had time to throw it? If he wouldn't have underthrew it, or even if Tyrone Prothro wasn't in the game, we haven't even talked about that. Alabama was up 31-3 with 9 minutes to go, and I know someone's going to try to say it, I'm not blaming his injury on the coaching staff because you didn't know that was going to happen. It's one of those freak accidents, but man, oh man, you can't help but think about it. It's the butterfly effect, and there's no need to even really talk about it too much because it happened. It is what it is. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But Tyrone.